Hello everyone, it's Roger and Abe here for episode 29 of the Disney Infinity and Beyond Webcast presented by DisKingdom.com. Okay, so we have myself here in a rather wet and sort of windy UK, and we have Abe there in probably lovely sunny California. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so on this week's show, we've got quite a few sort of little snippets. It's not been a huge week for Disney Infinity news. It's kind of, as we might expect with Disney Infinity kind of coming to the end of its kind of life cycle. There's not a huge amount of news coming out. We've got a few bits and pieces, including the new Disneyland Project. And we've got a little bit of, just a few sort of, we're just going to go and have a look at some feedback from the Tron stuff that we did last week. Because there's still a little bit of feedback on that, and just a few reactions that we've seen sort of from JV about a few items regarding Disney Infinity, and that's pretty much it really. But we're going to run through and talk about all of this week's toy boxes as well. So let's kick things off, Abe. Okay, so you had a good week this week?
Yes, I did. I had a great week. How about you? How was your week? You're still a little sick, I hear.
I've still got this cold and cough. So then it's like I'm into week 4 now, so I'm feeling really good about it. It's like, yeah. Woke up this morning, I'm like, still got it. And I'm just, joyous. So there we go. So that is, so that's me pretty much for the week. Right. Okay, so we're going to kick off with just a quick reminder. If you haven't already done so, remember to hit that subscribe button on YouTube. If you are listening to us on the audio version, you can subscribe through iTunes and Stitcher. You can also subscribe through the RSS feed to listen to that. And we really do hope, if you are listening to us on the iPad, on the iTunes version, if anyone would like to give us reviews for our podcast, it would be a huge help for us as well. And also you can comment below on the YouTube video. Okay, so that's kind of got all of that bits and pieces out the way. Just a quick reminder again, DisKingdom.com is the new home for all of our Disney Infinity product. We've been moving all of our content over to that. Been a great sort of week or so since we've launched it, and hopefully everyone's finding that one okay. Okay, so let's kick off with probably the main news of the week was the release of the Stitch case that came out at Target, I believe, $17.99. Did you pick one up, babe?
I could not find it. I've been to several Targets, could not find it. I don't know if it has to do with them breaking street date or if it has not been put out yet, but I have not found it.
All right. So you're going to pick one up?
Of course, I hope to. Yeah,
it's going to go into his little Infinity cabinet behind us there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's Rocket Raccoon out at the end of next week, is it?
You know, when I initially pre-ordered him, I was told it was going to be out this week, but I called before I drove out to pick him up, and they said it's now the 20th, so it's going to be next week.
Yeah, it's a bit of an odd thing for these to be released in sort of February, but hopefully, there are some die-hard people. The question is, you could buy 5, and then you could put all your, all your Guardians of the Galaxy figures in them.
I could.
Case. You'll have a hell of a lot of Rocket Raccoons, but
yeah, that's true. That's not a bad idea. I'm gonna try to get some more. No, I was playing.
It's the fact that on the back of I think it was the back of the Nick Fury one, it's got a picture of Nova in one and Spider-Man in one. So it's like, well, if you can't buy them separately, who's gonna buy? It's like.
Wait! You said the back of the Nick Fury one. There's different pictures.
Yeah, in the bottom corner.
I'm gonna have to see that. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Give me a second.
There he goes. He's climbing up.
I still haven't unboxed it.
He has legs.
Are you referring to the blue ones on the bottom, like down here?
Yeah.
Yeah, the blue ones are actually the generic cases. They're not like
generic, right?
Yeah, they're not the exclusive limited edition that obviously this one's GameStop exclusive. I'm sorry, no, this is Best Buy exclusive. Rocket will be GameStop, and then obviously Stitch Target. But no, that's I'm just going for the. Oops, sorry, I think sound's going off.
I was going to say I think I must have slightly saw the image a bit wrong and didn't see the color difference. But it makes you wonder if they were going to see another 2 of these. You would think, if they're doing the retail exclusives, it's going to be a bit like those Power Disc albums where someone else is going to get something. I'm guessing there could be an Avengers one somewhere.
Oh, I'm thinking if they are to do that, it would make sense if they use the same retailers that got those albums. So we're only missing Toys R Us, and I thought there was one more.
Best Buy.
Best Buy, you got Nick Fury.
Walmart.
And GameStop, you have Rocket, and then obviously Target. There was only 4 of those albums, right? Or there was a 5th store that had.
Walmart had one, didn't they?
They had an exclusive album. I didn't know that.
Yeah. There was 5 albums, wasn't there?
So maybe Walmart, but I doubt it.
So who knows on that one?
Yeah.
The other sort of big news of the week was the announcement of the Disneyland Project, which is kind of exciting. Disney are trying to basically recreate Disney Infinity, or they're going to create a Disney Infinity version of Disneyland. And starting in March, they want to basically they're going to build the main park, and they want sort of toy box builders to build the main toys, and they're going to link them all together. They're starting off with
the main rides and the main land.
They're sort of starting off with sort of Fantasyland. I'm just going to bring up the list here of the ones that they're going to do. Flight, Pinocchio Journey, It's a World, needs to be not this is pretty much like a very, very deep top 5 where you're basically going to have to be the cream of the cream to do this. So this is going to be a big challenge, and I think if you get into it, it's going to be a big thing. I must admit, I've started building one just to sort of see if I'm going to touch my hand on it. But yeah, I think it's going to be a very interesting thing. Also, the amount of time it's going to take, because by the time they go through all the lands, what's there, 6 lands in or 7 lands in Disneyland? Because we've got Fantasyland, Adventureland, Frontierland,
if you count Toontown,
and then Toontown, and then you've got Main Street USA.
Well, no, but you still have New Orleans Square, Crater County. I mean, you have quite a few lands.
Yeah.
But the main lands that connect to the centerpiece, you have Fantasyland, Adventureland, Tomorrowland, and Frontierland. I believe those are 5. Yeah. So who knows? We'll see what turns out from that. But it is still a cool project. I do like that. This kind of feels like it's tying into those toy box tales, because obviously it's going to be toy boxes tied to other toy boxes. Yeah. So I feel that's the exact same thing they're going to do with Disney clearly. So.
Yes, and also it's a good way of maybe kind of doing something for the next 6 months while there's nothing up with new 2.0 coming out fresh now. So it's almost like the Toy Box Tales, they're a good way of kind of giving us some additional content when there's nothing new to buy and there's nothing new being produced. So it's a good way of sort of spreading out and keeping people playing for the next, because if they'd already done like the Toy Box Tales and stuff before all the figures and stuff are out, I mean, they should probably have been running all the way along, but that's what I was looking at. The minute I saw this, that's a good way of just sort of giving some extra content before 3.0. Though I did think, well, by the time they get through all the lands, and then if they start on Animal Kingdom, and then if they work their way through, like, the different parks, it could take years to do it, and it's a good little bonus sort of mission every month if they do that. They could get. I was thinking, they could probably get a few years out of this just on this alone. I don't know what you thought.
I don't know about years. I think that's a little too much. I'm thinking just instead of having themes for toy boxes every week, I'm sure this is something new that they're trying. Just so obviously it'll get repetitive where you keep having people to do a challenge for a toy box. Now help us build a project. So I don't know. I'm thinking it's just a good time filler for
Yeah,
up until 3.0 in my opinion.
yeah. But I mean, I think as well as, I still is that thing. I think a lot of people are like, they want a play set, don't they? Of this, this is kind of the next best thing, really. Everyone kind of wants that theme park play set, and a lot of people sort of requesting it. So it makes sense, and the park challenges are always extremely popular. It's such a,
Oh yeah,
you know.
yeah, they are absolutely.
Okay, so that's the project on that on there. So we had a few sort of reactions because JV was back on Twitter, so let's give a woohoo. Yes,
Yeah, he's back
yes,
finally.
he's back. Yes, he's back. So there's a couple of things that he responded to. So we're not going to do the Tron just yet. I just had two other little things that a quick thing on. First off, there was a tweet that said Zurg was never planned as a figure. There was a picture of a concept art of Zurg, and JV responded saying he was never planned, which was interesting because I think there's always been that assumption, wasn't there, that Zurg and was it Ferb were never released for 1.0. That we saw them in the videos, we saw them running around, but they never actually got released, and so that was always quite interesting. That
Well, Ferb obviously had to have been planned, but for some reason they decided to cut it off. But Zurg, yeah, I kind of believe that it
yeah.
wasn't.
Though the thing is, though, is it's kind of one of the situations of Zurg would be a great character to add eventually.
Oh, I
But
agree.
also
Yeah.
in terms of the Toy Story playset, because of the way that they used him, he wasn't really like a. They couldn't really do him as a villain because they brought the villain in from all the other races or the other ones, but because of the size of him, it wasn't really doable, was it? I don't know if I remember on that playset right. He wasn't really. You never even got to fight him at the end, did we? It was just a big one in the sky.
Yeah, I mean, from my understanding, I think what people went off of, obviously the concept art, but before then, people would hack it and they hack the game 1.0, and you'd see them playing as not only Zurg, but they were also playing, like you said, Ferb, or they were also playing Chuck from Cars. They were playing the other vehicle, the blue one with the Dinoco logo. I forget his name, but anyways, I think it's because they're kind of animated side characters. Part of the play sets, because somebody hacked them and played with them. That doesn't necessarily mean
No.
they were going to be made into figures. You have to draw concept art for even NPCs in games. So I'm assuming that people just made their own assumption as to, oh, I saw a video of somebody played with them when they hacked into the game, and we saw concept art, so they had to have been figures, but clearly that's not the case.
No. So that was that one. The other thing, which was a bit interesting, was James asked, "Oh, I got the kids' bedtime stories sorted for tonight," which was the new toy box books that came out of which JV responded to.
The books, you mean?
Yeah, these new books. This is a bit of a sore spot for me, but glad you guys are having fun. Now, I think we both read that one right. That obviously, JV has obviously got there's obviously some kind of story around these books that maybe hasn't quite gone down as well with the team that making it. There could be a number of reasons. We're just literally speculating. So, what was your thoughts on that, Abe? Did you have any ideas what that could be about?
Well, I do remember. I mean, they announced that they were going to make these kids' books a long time ago, and they were finally going to release them towards the end of this 2.0 season or whatever. And I mean, yeah, I thought it was a great idea, nice concept, but again, who knows what direction they took with them? I'm sure it's a side project that probably they had no control over. It was maybe something that Disney decided to do for extra money, or I don't know. And maybe that's my assumption, obviously, from that tweet is clearly that it was something that JV wasn't really crazy about, but it happened, and he's, like he said, he's being courteous, and he's saying that, I'm glad you guys enjoy it.
Yeah.
But clearly a sore spot honestly says a lot.
Well, I think the thing is there's a lot of I think, as well as I'm wondering whether or not it's kind of, because it's maybe a book and a story, it's kind of like telling people, like in Infinity, what to do, rather than letting them just think what they want, kind of thing. That was the only thing I could think of. But it can't be. I mean, there's been some different merchandise made in different regions, and I just think it's one of those things. I just thought I'd bring it up as something that, obviously, there's a little bit of a story there, but those books, it could be like anything. So some of these accessories and sort of extra things that come out don't necessarily automatically become huge sellers, but who knows? Right, and now we're going to get on to kind of like the main sort of chunk that we wanted to talk about today.
No, we're not.
No,
you forgot
one. You got one thing.
You forgot. We sort of tapped into this before, and actually 2 of our past episodes about Venom. Venom has been a big,
yes.
Yeah, he's been a big conversation piece in a lot of things. Obviously the new Infinity figure, Venom, inspired the new comic book, and obviously, a lot of people have been great about his new look or his renewed look. But something interesting, there was an article posted up not that long ago, because the whole Spider-Man acquisition, even though it doesn't seem like it's an acquisition, it's more like a partnership. What was cool is I read this article, and apparently, because of this whole finally Marvel teaming up with Sony for movie rights, so they can include him into the the cinematic universe of Marvel. There was actually a big name, Avi Arad. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but he's a writer producer. He was responsible for Iron Man, and I believe also, what was the other movie? I think I'm gonna have to pull it up just to remember. Spider-Man, the first one, the 2002. Ghost Rider, all those movies. He's basically a writer and producer. But anyways, he actually went to this. She was the head of the movie department in Sony. Her name was I think her last name was Pascal, if I remember correctly. He actually approached her about making a Venom spin-off film. And this was actually taken from an excerpt from one of his emails, when they had that whole leak. Yeah. But the way he kind of pitched his interest into making a Venom spin-off film had Disney Infinity part of it, which is kind of interesting. So I kind of wanted to read a little bit of that. But he basically said this to her. He said, this time of the year, the circular tells us what's out or not. If you look at the toy circular, you will see that Disney Infinity game has Venom as a character. I think Venom is one of the biggest movies that we can do. By the way, all the ads of Disney Infinity has Venom on them. I would like you to give me the blessing for me to continue with the work and make Venom. As you know, I'm a big believer and a big follower of the comics. If it's okay for you, I would like to be very aggressive with this film. Please let me know. Avi Arad. So it's interesting for him to actually not only show that he has passion about comic books, since obviously he was responsible for three of them, but he used Disney Infinity as a big, like, hey, check this out, this is big.
Almost like it's trying to push Venom, that Venom is not just a villain or a throwaway character. Like, look, guys, Disney Infinity are using Venom as a main character, and we should be doing something with him, rather than just kind of, he's just a throwaway villain that we chuck out kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's kind of how it felt in that third, with Tobey Maguire, the third movie. He was just like a side villain that wasn't really utilized very well.
It was a real disappointment, I remember, when that came out, because I'm a huge Venom fan. I must have about 40, 50 Venom comic books. That's just pure Venom ones, and I loved the whole storyline that goes with him. And yeah, the Spider-Man 3 movie with Venom, it's like, I just remember sitting there going, why did they put the Sandman in this movie? It was not needed.
Yeah, not necessary.
Why is Harry is the Green Goblin? Get rid of him. They didn't need all of that.
Yeah.
But then that's typical sort of Ooh, a bit of feedback. Typical sort of movie idea. Throw more villains at it. That'll make it better.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like you said though. Venom is not just a throwaway character. He's not. He's not one of those. I mean, he could totally have his own spin-off film, and the fact that he's pitching it with, how big Venom is as far as Infinity ads go, and him being in the game, I think it's cool. It's really cool.
And there was a lot more discussion about. Have you got me on speaker or something?
No. I don't know if I think it's because my cord's twisted. Go ahead and talk. I'm gonna go ahead. Adjust.
One of the things, if you haven't already done so, is check out our new podcast, the DisKingdom.com podcast, where we talk about all kinds of Disney and Marvel and Star Wars things, including on the last episode we were talking about the acquisition of, or the partnership between Marvel and Sony, and we also discuss lots of other Disney collectibles such as Disney Infinity. We touch on Disney Infinity. We do most of it here, but we do bring up stories there. Vinylmation, pop vinyls, things like that. This week's show is going to be probably a toy fair. That's pretty much going to be our main subject, I think, for this week. But that's just a quick plug there, since that fitted in perfectly with what we were discussing on our last podcast for that. Okay, so let's kick off with Tron, which was really bad. The other night I was flicking through, and Tron Legacy was on TV, and I recorded it. I thought, let's watch it again. Just try and remind myself what that movie was.
Not just that, but Toy Box TV almost was kind of like, just carved right through my heart with a knife. Like, they were talking about how the Tron figures are exclusive, and almost felt like they were rubbing it in, even though they weren't. But but that's what it felt like.
We had a bit of last week. When we were talking about it, we talked about it quite a bit last week. We wanted to hear everybody else's feedback, so we've got some feedback here from a few people. So I'm going to bring up a screen here. So I had a couple of sort of quite big ones here. This was the new Infinity fan. They left a comment on the website. Hi there, enjoy listening to the podcast, and had some thoughts to share from a business perspective. If we think about decisions Disney made with regards to Infinity from a business perspective, the decisions start to make more sense. At the end of the day, Disney is a public traded company that needs to create profit and growth for the shareholders, and they'll always be the number one priority. So when it comes to making exclusives for various different platforms like Tron characters on PC and iOS, it makes sense from a business perspective if Disney have made an agreement with certain PC and iOS stakeholders, not stockholders. That would create incentives for Disney to make exclusive for those platforms in order to bring more attention to those platforms, create a desire in the consumer to have a PC or iOS in order to play with those exclusive figures. This effect on marketing strategy should not be underestimated. It can influence people's choice to get a new iPhone instead of another phone, and help push someone just enough to take the plunge and spend the money on a new PC. Disney is in the business of to make money, profit, shareholder value. They will partner with other business to hopefully create more opportunities. In order for actual consumer to have a spot on the bargaining table to get Disney's ear and to cater more to a consumer, or desire to make a consumer happy, consumers would have to exercise their power of purchase choice en masse. In other words, many consumers would have to be upset enough to choose not to support the product line any further. If that happens, the consumer will have Disney and all of its partners' attention and seek to make them happy again, thanks to reading New Infinity Fan. So that was the first response. So that was a real detailed, good. That was a good answer, I thought. So what did you think to New Infinity Fan's thoughts there?
Great response. I definitely agree. I mean, if we're looking at it as a business standpoint, obviously, first and foremost, this is a business, and they're going to make business decisions. The only thing I don't want to say I necessarily disagree with it, but I feel like there's just a little asterisk to what he's saying. As far as Disney is out to make money, yes. I mean, since what was it, since 1991, I believe they have their stock has improved like 1,000%, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I remember 4 or 5 years ago when I bought just one share because I wanted one and put it on my wall. I think I bought it for like $23. You know, the stock's over $100 right now. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's definitely there. The purpose of this whole thing, regardless of the fact, it's to make money. I get it. But the asterisk I'm talking about is there's something special about Disney Infinity, in my opinion, because you don't see other games do what they do. For example, you don't see a weekly Toy Box TV episode on any games, you know, where they're saying, hey, do this with this game, or let's do that. You don't see catered different types of social media and website just for this one game alone, continuously to connect to their players. One thing that really stands out to me, too, is the fact that the Toy Box Summit, what games do that for their actual fans and actual fellow game players? For me, I do feel, and another point before I say the statement, but as well as polling your core audience to see which figures they want to be made. But the final point on that is I still feel that they listen to their community to the point where it does influence their decisions. I mean, I agree. This could have been, like JV said in his tweet, plans change. Okay, so maybe this is a strategic plan change, but in the end, do I feel like they might still listen to the community and actually make them happy? I think they might. I think they will.
Right. Okay.
But anyways, great. Thank you, Disney Infinity fan. That was really good.
Got another good response here from DMU Girl 2008. Love the episode. Really balanced take on things. I do think that if they don't take out the Tron figures at some point, it may affect collectors' buzz. I.e., the need to have every character, even ones that we are not bothered about. It has already made me wonder if I should only get the figures I really like for 3.0 rather than buying them all for a complete collection. I do think that our blind faith in Disney is weakened every time we're disappointed. E.g., when we are asking about Disney playsets, they were really ambiguous, which led us to believe they were coming. I don't have a PC that I can run DI on, and I don't use the app much, so I won't be getting the Tron characters as things currently stand. I do think you make a good point about them interpreting the statistics for PC. iOS version is free, and quite a few households have multiple iOS devices. It doesn't mean this version of the game is more popular. It's like when they use the stat that we spent more time in the toy box. Of course we do. Each playset only so many hours of play, whereas the toy box content is ever expanding due to user-generated content. This doesn't mean playsets aren't just as important, especially when you consider most content game sites base their reviews off of it. Personally, I think playsets for Frozen, Big Hero 6 and Inside Out could make Disney Infinity a necessity for every Disney lover. I already presume that they will concentrate on both, and that playsets would take place of tie into computer games. Eventually, I saw Disney Infinity having a new playset for every single major film release. I just think everyone wishes there were knew where Disney Infinity is going and where it will eventually become. I also think Disney are going to have to be very careful, as 3.0 may decide things for a lot of people. So big thank you to DUM Girl 2008 for that response as well. That was again on left on the website. So what do you think to that response?
I mean, yeah, she makes it's a DUM Girl. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's very valid. I definitely agree with that. It's true. I mean, to an extent, what she's saying, it makes so much sense. And honestly, one of the things that made her statement made me think about, you know how they say that most of the time spent is in the toy box. I completely agree. But a lot of people, or at least the analytics behind it, where they keep tally as to see how much time is spent in each section of the game, they don't really think about what you're actually doing in the toy box. Like when I'm in the toy box, the reason why I'm spending so much time is because I'm trying to figure out how to make this and this work.
Yeah.
I'm scrolling to tons of toys to find which is the one I want, then placing it. So honestly, I'm spending so much time figuring out what I'm going to do, and I'm sitting in the game, rather as to it in playset, I'm playing the whole entire time. So
also, and there was the other thing as well. Everyone that was on the iOS version in 1.0 was only in the toy box. So all those iOS people
Exactly.
will never even touched a playset. You know, I mean, the percentage for 2.0 is going to be completely off the chart. You know, it's probably going to be 95% of the time in the toy box, if not higher.
Yeah, you know, you absolutely jumped into right where I was leading to. It's the fact that you have these platforms, these different types of gaming consoles or devices, and it's still not a fair tally. It's just not, because, like you said, you're only in Toy Box and iOS and PC. PC, do you even go through the playsets? No, right?
You
That's
can
just
have the
all.
playsets on the PC version.
Okay, well, my PC is garbage. I can never play. I can never play
Do you know what? My
Infinity.
PC, I can't even place an object in the toy box. If you place it, you can't even bring up the menu because it just doesn't respond. So
Yeah.
I deleted that quick enough.
So I mean, what she's saying is completely valid, and it makes so much sense. And I agree. I think of the three she listed as far as playsets would make all Disney dreamers happy, I think
Yeah.
I don't know if she said Wreck-It Ralph was one of them, but I think that would be amazing.
There's the kind of thing,
I
isn't
think it
there?
was.
I think where we want, you know, it would be good for them to do. We obviously want them to do play sets for the new stuff that's coming out, like Inside Out and, you know, Ant-Man, things like that. But there is that kind of thing. I think there's still that desire for the things that we didn't get: Frozen, Wreck-It Ralph, you know, Rapunzel, Nightmare Before Christmas. Those kind of things where Big Hero, you know, where we've got the figures, but we kind of felt like there's not been, because no one says that about, you know, no one says about Toy Story or anything like that, do they? It's like, you know, we had the play set, and everyone was happy with that.
Right.
But yeah, I think there's always been that thing of, and let's be honest, Frozen play set, come on, you're just gonna. it's
Well, I mean, another thing you got to think about, Roger, is Disney Interactive, and obviously Avalanche. They were responsible for making any game. You know, I'm sorry, any movie that came out, they would make a game for it.
Yeah.
And they would release it. Now, because everybody's so focused on Disney Infinity, how often do you see a game strictly dedicated to an IP?
Well, that was the whole, that was kind of the major point of Infinity, was that they realized, well, it took them a long time, that their straight to their movie spin-offs were usually pretty poor. They got a poor response. They'd often be rushed, and they never really performed very well. And they just kept churning these games out because they felt they had to keep doing that. And that was the whole point of Infinity, was the fact that they could bring out a new figure or a new playset or something, and not have and build it onto something that's already successful, rather than just keep churning out bad game after bad game. And that's why, you know, they went from major losses year after year after year after year to 2 years with Infinity. They've made profit. You know,
and that thing alone, though, right there is showing that we're lacking what we used to have, even though it was mediocre. Now we don't get Wreck-It Ralph dedicated games. We just get a Wreck-It Ralph figure, and we have to build our own into Infinity. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think in general, I think as we go forward, as Infinity's proven now, it was probably one of those things of when they were building Infinity, there was still maybe that core thing that business at the time was, you know, doing pretty poorly. Between that and their between, you know, Infinity and mobile games are now all they're focused on, because they've gone after, they've, you know, diversified themselves to the point where they now know what's popular and what makes the money, and now they're making millions, you know. Yeah. And once the division, I think, once it's got into profit, it's going to mean that maybe 3.0, 4.0, 5.0 have more of a budget than maybe the first game, or the 2.0 had.
Yeah.
2.0 must have been in production before 1.0 was released, so they were still in, you know, will it work, will it not work, and so they couldn't maybe dedicate more time and money into it until they knew that they had a hit on their hands.
Yeah, the last thing you want it to happen is them to think about profit, like, entirely before you think of your fan base. Because for me, I felt like in 1.0, and definitely in the making of 2.0, I felt like they were listening to the community more. I don't want to say they're not still, but I don't want it to turn into the fact where they're just thinking with the dollar signs. Kind of like, let's say omitting Tron was a strategic profit-induced decision, and I don't care what our fans say. I don't think that's the case, but that's the last thing you want to happen.
I don't think. I think there's very little doubt that they listen to the fans, because
Absolutely.
fans are if they listen to it properly, they can make more money, and I think that's what they've worked out. That if they listen to the fans, that will lead them to where the money is.
Absolutely.
If they go bullheaded and try and tell people what they want, it doesn't work. And they've been doing that for years. So they've changed direction. And all the characters we saw in 2.0 from the Disney side of things, I think, were picked by the fans. You know, the whole Disney original lineup, I think, was pretty much picked out because of people last year answering what characters they wanted. So that is a direct response. I think there's lots of objects added to the toy box that were directly responsible from the community. The way they respond to the community is fantastic, and I think that's continuing to grow. But like I said, it can take time, and the community's not always. People aren't very patient. You know.
Oh no. Yeah.
You know, they might have implemented stuff that people gave them feedback from last year that we'll see in the next game. You know, they might have not have got it into 2.0, but it might have been on the list of things to do for 3.0. There's probably a huge list of things to do, but it's time and getting it all in. You know, it's just not all instant.
Absolutely, no. Everything takes time, and that's very, very, very valid. But yeah, no, great comment. That was a great statement written in.
That's cool, okay. So you got a couple of responses as well.
I just got tweets that I read from JV, and it's speculation off of Tron. You know, like a lot of people. You know, we didn't hear from him. It was kind of quiet after the whole news broke, and like you said, it was kind of like a business practice. Everybody's upset, so let's stay quiet for a bit.
Yeah.
JV started to respond to his tweets, and I actually favorited and retweeted 3 of them. So if anybody ever goes to my Twitter, you'll see it there. But here, I guess I can pull up the first one. Actually, these go together, believe it or not. Here, somebody, was asking, because JV decided to put up on his Twitter, he said that, in case you guys missed it, Sam Flynn and Quorra now join Disney Infinity 2.0 roster exclusive to Disney platforms on iOS and PC. And, obviously people responding, negativity, yada, yada, yada. And then one I'm not going to say who they were, but one of them said, it kind of feels like you're turning the back on the rest of us in favor of the digital audience. And okay, his first response that stood out to me was JB said, "Dude, totally not at all. Have little faith that we love our community." Smiley face. Yeah. So him implying that, hey, have a little faith in us, when this is a direct comment off of exclusivity for the Tron characters, but for him to say have a little faith in that we love our community, okay, that kind of already starts to hint that this is definitely not the end of the Tron characters. We may be seeing them later on. Now, if you continue, there was also another one along the same lines of a comment, but he said, we thought it would be nice for iOS users after waiting so long to have, Tron characters. But then he said, stay tuned for other news, because the question was, are we going to see them into other platforms? So the fact that he said stay tuned for other news, again, makes us believe, hey, this is not the end yet again. But this is the one that stood out to me the most, and I will show you what that one is in a second. So far, what are you thinking as far as what I just said?
I think it's just his responses basically make a lot of sense, because he's basically just sort of coming out and saying, we are listening, we are, we're not ignoring you. Trust us, we'll make it better. Or, it's that kind of thing of, it makes sense. It's not a flat out deny. It's not telling us what's happening, but it's just kind of just enough of the thing to say, look, come on, trust us, we'll make it right.
Right.
And this leads on to this next one.
And it leads on to this, and this is honestly, this is not gray. This is black and white. If you know, it's very obvious what he's saying here. The question was from another person that said, "JV, are the two Tron characters only for iOS?" And his response is, "For digital platforms during 2.0
Yeah.
dash yes." So why would he answer it like that? Why wouldn't he just say yes? Instead, he said for digital platforms during 2.0 dash yes. That just says, okay, guys, it's very obvious. They're trying to tell us. I don't know whether this was fully planned. This has to do with what Roger and I were talking about last time about this being a time exclusive. Do we know this? It's not confirmed, no. But do these messages kind of imply something? Absolutely. I honestly feel like we will see them later on.
I think this is going to be Crystal Sorcerer Mickey all over again.
Yeah.
First off, I think we will probably see the two characters, but not in 2.0's lifespan. I think
agreed.
3.0, because primarily the fact that even if they hit the big red panic button last week and went make the Tron figures, it's gonna be, what do they say, 6 to 9 months maybe before they arrive.
It says they take it takes them minimum 6 months to actually the whole process of making one figure.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So even if they did that today, you know, they hit that big button that says make them, send them out. I still think it'd be a good idea for them to come out and just literally just be honest and just come out and say, look, just literally say, look, the maybe after they make a big announcement about 3.0, maybe, you know, April, May the 4th, something like that. You know, come out in May or when the Vita version comes out and literally just respond. Even just do it now and just say, you know, if and say that they're coming out for 3.0, they're coming out, they'll be out later in the year or something like that. Just to literally just put the whole thing to bed and let it go, and then just let it go. If they literally come out and just respond and say, Tron and, or, you know, the two Tron characters will be out later in the year, or, you know, maybe not next year, whichever way they're going to work it out, and just say it. Just if they did that now, yeah, people would be annoyed that they couldn't do it, but at the same time, it would just be like they've answered it, and people will move on. You know, it's a bit like, that's, I think, a better response than just imming and ahhing for the next 6 months.
But you know what, Roger? I think it goes along the lines to what we've commented before in the past, and also to what Disney Infinity fan said in his post. This is a business,
yeah.
And I'm thinking that this could be one of those, maybe those contracts where they say yeah, they can't say anything until this time frame ends. Like, for example, Black Suit Spider-Man that's going to be with the Vita version. We've asked JV before, hey, so is this going to be available later on? And all he said is, at this time, it will be a Vita exclusive. So how does that answer it?
Well, I don't know. I saw a tweet from Disney Infinity itself, and it said something like, we've never let our fans down, or something, that every exclusive has always been available to everybody afterwards or later.
Wait, is this off of the Disney Infinity, their own Twitter page, not JV?
No, this is off their own official one.
Okay.
I went to find it last night, but there's so many tweets.
Okay. I was gonna say, can I just be honest and say that I take that very lightly. I take it with a grain of salt, because a lot of the things they say are
a bit sort of, they don't fully know.
No, I again, it just goes back to what I'm saying. I definitely feel like if this is in fact a time exclusive and we are going to get it later on, they're not going to just come out and say, okay, guys, don't be mad at us, we're going to give it to you guys later. If it's a business decision, they're going to just bite their lip, take all the heat, and then finally when it's time, they're going to say, oh, by the way, Sam and Quorra, you know, they're going to make it like this big announcement where they're announcing 3.0 and then says, oh, and by the way, yes, you guys asked for it. Here it is, Sam and Quorra 3.0. You know, it's gonna be something like they're gonna hype it up to the point where take all the heat, and boom. But again, this is all speculation. But all these tweets just kind of point that direction.
Yeah, I think we should. I think it's at that point really that with the Tron stuff, you know, this is kind of gonna be. I think a lot of people know it's simmered down. People have accepted the fact that they're not getting them anytime soon. People are still annoyed at it. And I don't think that's going to go away. I think it's a bit of a. I still think it was it's a little bit of an aftertaste at a time when there is a little bit of sort of people sort of like going, I don't like what's going on, and as all I'm going to say is when they start coming up with this 3.0 stuff, if they don't get some Disney stuff chucked out there from day one, they are going to lose. So they're going to lose some people if they don't play it smart, or smarter than they did last year.
Yeah, it goes on, again along the lines of what we've been saying. They're still learning. This is year number 2. Will it be? Hopefully, they learn from what's going on, and there'll be a different approach next year. But, I mean, man, it makes more sense.
If they have a big event and they bring in all the Star Wars characters and Star Wars is coming, they need to be able to just put in the trailer, maybe less subtly than they did. Because this is the funny thing, when they did that trailer last year for 2.0, they had Stitch, they had Merida, they had Maleficent. They had them in there. You could see them running around, but I think they were so subtle. Everyone went, "There's no Disney." It was like, well, they were there if you looked, but it was way too subtle. They need to be literally standing there right in the front, some of the characters, and just kind of go, "Yeah, we're coming as well."
Hey, you want to hear my guess, Roger? This year, 2015, and out here in California, there's going to be Star Wars Celebrations. It's a big expo. There's also going to be the D23 Expo. And my guess is they're going to announce 3.0 at Celebration. That's just my guess.
When is Celebration?
It's a little bit later. It's around the same time, around Mayish or June. Actually, I don't even know. I have to look it up. But it's around the regular time where they announced the 2.0 last year. Anyways.
Well, it was April, wasn't it, last year that they did the big...
It was May 30th when I was at the Marvel event when it happened.
No, that was my birthday, so I know that it wasn't that one.
It definitely was.
April 30th.
No, it was May.
Well, I found the fact that I remember sitting there watching it, and May 30th would have been my birthday, so I know the fact it wasn't that.
Or maybe it was May 1st and it felt like May. Okay. I could have sworn it was May 30th.
One day of the year I knew what I was doing.
All right, I'll take your word for it, but I still think it was May 30th.
No, I was pretty sure it was, and I'm going to just check.
Now you have to pull it up. April 30th it was? Okay. I knew it was the 30th, so.
It was the fact that you picked the one day I knew that I had to be right.
Sorry. So it was April 30th, but still, it's sometime around there. And I feel like it might be a little bit later this year only because they're probably going to want to take a little bit more time to develop and make, this game, so before they decide to say, hey, check this out.
Here we go. Star Wars Celebration is April 16th to 19th.
Okay, sorry, I didn't know the date. I told you on that.
No. But I was more interested in the fact that is only a week.
So it is earlier.
A week before last year's event.
So, okay, but my guess is still right? Or at least sounds accurate.
If they're going to do it, that would be a great place
Star
to
Wars
kick
Celebration,
it off.
They will announce 3.0. That's my guess. D23, they will announce Disney characters. That's my guess.
I think they'll have done more by then. When is D23? Let's have another look. I think that's too late in the summer.
I'm sticking to that guess.
I think they'll announce something.
They're not going to announce any Disney characters. Nope. Maybe you know what they'll do? They'll have a trailer like they did with Marvel. All Marvel. Hold on. All Marvel. You know how they had Merida hidden and Maleficent hidden and Stitch hidden in the trailer? They never announced them, but they were in the trailer. That's what they're going to do.
Yes.
They will not announce those characters until D23. That's my guess.
I don't think they can wait till August the 14th.
Oh, I think so.
I think that's August 14th would be way too late. I'm going off of what they did last year. The way that they went to every single event and they announced a fat character or two, and every other week they announced something. They're going to do that again because that worked great. They kept the buzz going. They kept excitement going because they had Comic-Con. They announced a playset. When they were at E3, they announced a playset. They
were all Marvel though.
Yeah, but you know what? They still. I think they're going to continue that trend. They're going to keep.
Well, maybe they'll announce a few Disney characters along the way, but maybe at D23 they'll announce the rest of them, all of them. Maybe that's what it will be.
If they do that, they'd be idiots because if they announce Star Wars in April and they don't announce any Disney.
No. Did you hear what I just said? Yeah. I just said, okay, so maybe they'll announce them along the way, like one or two, but at D23 they'll announce everything, the full lineup. I'm saying.
I think by the time we get to D23, we'll know everything, and I would be more surprised if they don't give people at the event a new character for 3 points. That's because they I'm thinking then by the time we get into August, we're into Toy Box Summit territory. We're into.
By E3, we'll be getting new figures. Absolutely.
I mean, we'll be full on into this game's coming out next month. We've got thousands of Disney fans in one building. Let's try and flog them this idea. But yeah, I think Star Wars Celebration is a possibility. I'm putting a second bet on for May the 4th.
May the 4th, why?
Just because
May the 4th be with you? Yeah. Is that why?
Well, because usually at Disneyland and Walt Disney World, they have the big events for the Star Wars weekends.
Yeah.
But if they did like May the 4th, it could tie it in with that. But yeah, I'm thinking.
Or it could be just a full-fledged media event. Who knows?
Yeah, I think if they did what they did last year, that would be cool. They might even just, like you say, pull their own event and not need to tie into anything else. But I think they'll continue the trend of at every different event, all the big media events, etc. They will just continue to drop announcements because it worked great from the point of view that every time they went to an event and they made an announcement, they got press coverage. And I think that worked very well because when they came out with 1.0, they had to basically came out and said, right, here's everything in January. And then they didn't really have any hype all through before the launch because they couldn't do that because people already didn't know it. They had to get as much information out as possible for launch. Whereas 2.0, they took it a lot slower. And I thought it worked great. It was a bit frustrating, I think, for non-Disney people that were getting a bit like, well, where's all the Disney? But once they started announcing the two characters every week, it kept going. But people just kept going, well, where's that playset? Where's that playset? But I think in general, I thought that slow news trickle worked great.
Yeah, I kind of was basing my speculation off of 1.0 because that's when they announced like 10 different Disney figures at D23. But no, what you're saying is very valid. It's true. You have a lot of events to lead up to it.
If D23 was earlier in the sort of the life cycle of the summer, I could see it. I think middle of August is too late to be keeping anything major back because retailers will already be starting to.
But are we assuming that it's going to happen all over again the same time frame?
Oh, it will be. I can't see it not because it's they need to be in the stores for Christmas. They need to be there for the holiday period. They aren't going to They aren't skipping a Christmas. Yeah. And I think they wanted to get into annual releases. I think we've seen it before. If they skip a year, they're throwing hundreds of millions of pounds away.
Or dollars, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's true. That makes a lot of sense.
Whether or not it's August, September, October, that's up for negotiation. But by October, November, December, it has to be out. It has to be in retailers. I think November they want to get a head start on Skylanders. They want because they've already announced. Skylanders have already announced the next game's coming out. So.
They did? What's any name, any official date? Nothing?
There is a new game because the people that did Swap Force are doing
the new one.
Because they have two teams.
Yeah,
Toys and
one
Bob's,
game.
Vicious Toys or something, and so they alternate years.
Yeah.
So which that is again is part of the same thing. If they're giving themselves 2 years to develop the game, but because they've got different companies doing it, we just keep getting this. We just keep getting 1 year in the game, and I think that's like we've said before. Disney needs more. They need more
time.
developers. Well, more time or more people involved to make more projects quicker, or
yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of one of those things. But I think, to be honest, I was wondering for next week's show. I think we should just basically it's going to be I can't see there being a lot of news, and we're just going to do a pure just speculation and we want to know your predictions. Let's do a prediction show next week.
You got it. Let's do it.
So we want to know what do you think is going to be announced? What do you think when they're going to do it? How they're going to do it? Throw some stuff down. There's going to be we're going to be reading people's thoughts out. Let's just get a little bit of sort of predictions, and let's just try and do a little bit of fun. Let's get back to doing some fun stuff and just literally just throwing whole loads of thoughts and theories in the air, and then Disney should prove us all wrong.
Yeah, hopefully, and give us more.
Yes,
more. We want more.
Yeah,
we want more.
There's an ad at the minute. Was an ad. He's like, "Can I have some more, please? More."
I'll be Darth Vader. Give me more. See, I love it. It's like how he's holding the hand. Yeah, we're gonna see this, guys. That's my first prediction already. No sums in the game. No sums in the game. Oh my god! If there's a sum in Disney Infinity, I will quit. No, I'm just kidding. I'm taking that back. I will not quit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. See, this is the thing. I was thinking, if they could put a chip in one of these things.
Oh, and put it on the base.
Yeah.
I hope not. How I could already see the skill tree on that thing. Roll.
It can roll.
That's it. Roll. That's a skill tree on there.
That's a special move. But yeah.
Anyways, we want to hear your speculation. We want to hear what figures are coming for 3.0. Are we even going to have a 3.0? What if it's just going to be a 2.5, an expansion to this platform? Will we have playsets? Will we have more Toy Box game discs? Will Roger finally lose his cold? Let us know what your speculation is.
By 4.0, I might be right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's it. So that's next week's show. So just a quick, completely forgot to have a quick look here to run through last week's toy boxes, which are all the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. toy boxes. So we had Cadet Training Facility by King of Tuna, S.H.I.E.L.D. Recruitment Bash by Pirate Steven, S.H.I.E.L.D. by F. Daniels, Melinda May, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Advanced Training by the Baroness, and Hydra Strikes Back by Soda 156. And there was also a couple of Aladdin ones done by the Toy Box team. Get to try any of these out?
The Toy Box team, I played that one that kind of looked like, I forget what it's called, but the WWF one.
Oh, yes.
And I didn't see the point, to be honest with you.
Well, I went through yesterday morning. I went through and thought, well, I'll do some videos up, and they'll be up on the channel. I went through and I played through Melinda May's Agent, and I also went through the Cadet Trend. But also had I had a few of the Toy Box teams, so I went through there was 2 Aladdin ones. They were good fun. And yes, and then I did that Valentine's Rumble. And I put it up on Valentine's Day on the channel. And it was one of those things that it's like it worked. It wasn't just me. It only worked for the first half. It was like
for me, it didn't even. I think I probably went through a couple of times, and that's it. It
was like they were headbutting each other out the ring. I thought, okay,
right.
And then they did it the second time, and then as it went on, they were it was working less and less and taking longer and going. And I think I eventually got to the point in the video where I'm just like, yeah, okay, I think we've got the point.
All right, that's the game. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Yeah, it was kind of one of those things of great in theory, you can do this stuff, but after about maybe if you'd set it to You should have just made it an elimination match rather than a battle royale. It was.
Yeah. I mean, that's where playset story comes in line, and that's where it kind of makes it feel better than the toy box sometimes. But yeah, I mean, it was fun at first, but afterwards, it's like, okay, I don't get it. Is this it? You know?
Yeah, well, I think it's this thing of those kind of toy boxes show off what you can do and how you can tell a story, but also I find it can be frustrating when it tells a story, but it doesn't allow any freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always said this with any of the toy boxes, don't. And the toy box team sometimes has got into this a few times with their toy boxes, where if you have to go through 5 or 6, 7 different screens of texts, you've probably lost half your audience before you've got to the end of it, because there's that thing of when you're playing video games,
Instant gratification.
yeah, and you want that sort of, but there's a kind of thing of going, you have a bloke turn up and says, "Hello, do this, da-da-da-da," and it was like with that Valentine's Rumble one, it was like, well, didn't seem to be, the payoff never came.
Yeah.
And because I'm just sitting there going, come on, you're not even hitting each other now. You just, it's like I said, it was a bit of a kind of, and then what's really bad is when you see that and they get like downloaded like 25,000 times.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. It's like they did there was Jasmine's Palace where she had to run around and collect some things, and those kind of ones, I don't feel Disney have been making enough toy boxes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel they've been, they make the one toy, and we obviously don't know what they're working on, but I still feel like they should have been some better toy boxes coming out, or more of them more often, because I know there's a lot of families that will only download Disney stuff.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
And I know. Well, I gave Infinity to some friends for Christmas, and I know they're literally waiting for me to pop over to go through some stuff, because there's so much stuff to go through, and I think they don't see the word Disney in it. They don't download it.
I agree. This year has felt lacking. In fact, it's kind of like, don't want to speak bad, but didn't they hire a toy box team, to create toy boxes? It's like,
yeah, but I think those guys have been
doing other things.
They've been doing lots of other jobs. I think they're working on. I know they're working on bits and pieces for 3.0. I think some of them. Maybe because they were so talented, they've been given lots of more jobs than just creating. Someone's like,
yeah.
Actually, to be honest, we'll leave the community to keep making toy boxes. We can give them better.
That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like.
That's what it is. I think we were all a bit like, okay, 5 toy box artists that work full time making toy boxes for us. I don't think they're doing that. I think they're doing other jobs that are bigger, and I think that's what it could be, rather than what we envision. I think they're still thinking, well, there's still hundreds of people creating toy boxes. We don't need them all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
I was gonna say, all right. We'll check you guys out next week with speculations and
speculation. So you can comment on the websites. You can also send us an email. You can tweet us. Send us a message on Facebook. On our Facebook group is probably a good way. We're going to try and get a discussion going over there and trying to get everyone's response there. It'll be fun for the week.
If you want to send a carrier pigeon, Travis is the one that receives the carrier pigeons, so definitely send them his way.
Yes, Travis is currently he's in Toy Fair. He's way too busy looking at toys and nice new toys to get that pigeon, try and find him.
They're probably just waiting at his place. That's all.
You have to send him a picture through Instagram. That's the only way of communicating through Travis at the minute is Insta.
We're so advanced. Pigeons have phones now. They're just texting them.
Yeah. They just get born now with
Absolutely.
You got selfie stick straight to their head.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, guys, thank you very much for watching. Like I said, if you're listening to us on iTunes, etc., remember to hit that subscribe button and give us a review as well. That really will help us. If you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and hit that like button, the thumbs up. That helps us as well. And yeah, you've got all these sort of the social medias. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, Pinterest.
Pinterest.
Yeah. I've been trying to put some stuff on Pinterest. I still haven't fully sort of grasped that one. Tumblr, I've no real...
Dude, how hard is Pinterest? It's just a pin. Just put a pin on it, and it stays there.
Yeah.
Create little lists, and...
I think because I'm
just... I don't have one.
And so on, I was like, oh, there's so many. But yeah, so I am pinning all the stories off DisKingdom onto, and also, so they will be pinned onto the Pinterest as well. But the main one we want you to focus on are Facebook and Twitter. Those are the main two that we like.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. So big thank you to Abe for joining me again this week.
Absolutely.
We'll be doing this again tomorrow with an episode of our new DisKingdom.com podcast, where we're going to be talking about, I think, a lot
toys.
Lots of toys.
Toys from Toy Fair.
We're just basically just going to be talking about Travis's pictures.
Finding Nemo.
Yes.
Okay,
guys, we're going to leave it that because now Abe's just draping.
I'm delirious. It's time to sleep. No, it's a piranha.
A piranha. All right, guys, we'll see you there. And should we leave off with some corny kind of I can't even think of what Disney's slogan that they keep using all the time. The possibilities are infinite.
Don't. We should make up our own, but we'll debut it on our next podcast.
I'm going to be honest here. We don't. Yeah, I'm going to leave that one to you because you're an American. You can come up with British. We don't tend to do all that kind of
that's true.
Corny sort of. Because that's, it's one of those really weird things sometimes with the culture differences of British and stuff. We sometimes with big corporations and stuff we don't really get Brits don't really quite often like all of that kind of fluffy corporate sort of
got milk.
Yeah. But, I remember what was it? All this stuff like when corporations make people do like team building and
icebreakers and stuff.
And one thing I never, it's like when they bring them all over to job interviews, and I remember going you want me to do team building, and you want me to just go out into the cold, wet, and collect trolleys, and you want me to come to an event or to go and do all these team building things. I'm just collecting trolleys in a car park at 18. You're just going, really? What's the point? It's like I'm here to make money and to go to work, not to be friends with like you're an 18-year-old. Like I just remember going to I have to do a maths test. How many trolleys do I have to count to?
No.
But yeah, that's kind of those things. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have one of those next week for sure.
Yeah, so I'm going to leave Abe to come up with some kind of inspirational mentor kind of. What's the other ones that they?
I think we should leave today. I don't know, with me being you and you being me, in our accents, and we sign off that way.
This is where I've now become an English Cockney person from 1820. Good night, governor.
Exactly.
Chim chimney, chim chim, chim chim chiroo. I'm just gonna go do some sweeping.
All right, you know what? Forget it. You just ruined it for me.
Blimey, governor. Are you all right? If you want some chips and things, we're gonna go get ourselves some jelly yield, and we're gonna go run off.
Some tea and crumpets.
Let's
Let's end on a joke that I saw from Valentine's Day with Drax. This is a mini. I think it said, "I have a crush on you," and Drax says, "No, you don't. Nothing can crush me." That's what was the joke. That was Valentine's joke. Anyways, signing off, you guys. Thank you for watching.